Hello everyone. Now we are going to start further part of this first chapter. Okay, so the derivation part is already covered. So now we are going to go through this various method for determination of water content, specific gravity and mass density. As far as your syllabus is concerned, you need to go thoroughly through this 7 methods. Okay, out of that actually 6 methods: oven drying method, torsion balance method, pycnometer method, sand bath method, alcohol method and radiation method. Okay, so these are the important methods for use and you have to go thoroughly through it. But specific gravity and mass density, if you know the names of this method, then that is enough. We will just go through the names. In case of a specific gravity, we have these 5 methods, that is density bottle method, pycnometer method, measuring flask method, gas jar method and shrinkage limit method. Okay, then mass density. In case of a mass density, water displacement method is there, submerged mass density method, core cutter method, sand replacement method, water balloon method and radiation method. Okay, so suppose if you are going to have objective type examination like that, if you see water content and specific gravity, then pycnometer method is common here. Okay, so with the pycnometer method you can determine specific gravity also and water content. Okay, these two parameters can be determined by this pycnometer method. Okay, again in case of a water content and mass density, the radiation method is common, isn't it? Okay, so water content can be determined by the radiation method and mass density also can be determined by the radiation method. Pycnometer method is common with respect to specific gravity and water content, while radiation method is common with respect to mass density and water content. Now we are going to see what is oven drying method. So out of all the methods for determination of water content, there are almost 7 methods are there. Out of this is the one of the most accurate method for water content determination. Okay, so what is the exact experimental procedure in a simple words is that we have to take a wet soil, we have to take a measure of it, then we have to keep that in oven, we have to keep it in oven at a certain temperature and for 24 hours of a duration. Then after that you have to take that soil sample out from this oven and you have to take weight of it. The difference between the weight mass of the soil and dry mass of a soil, that is the soil sample which is taken out from this oven, okay, that is dried, that dry mass. The difference between these two will give us mass of water, okay, and divided by the weight of a dry mass or a dry solids, that will give us water content. This is a very simple method of oven drying. But if you want to go into deep in this, then while taking the soil sample for oven drying method, it depends on this chart. Okay, depending on this you have to decide how much soil you have to take. So if I say row number 1, percentage finer is 425 micron and quantity is 25 gram. So before understanding this, it is important to know what is percentage finer. Okay, the percentage finer is nothing but a term that comes when we do the sieve analysis report. I will just give you the small idea about what is sieve analysis. There are different size sieves available, as you will be knowing that in a concrete technology. Just like that, different size of sieves are available. They will be arranged in a decreasing order and the soil will be sieved through it. Okay, so percentage finer is 425 micron. It means that out of this soil, out of these sieves, there will be one sieve which will be having a dimension of 425 micron. Out of that soil, 90% of a soil has passed through this 425 micron sieve. Okay, then that will be the percentage final. Okay, means 90% of a soil has passed through. It means that 90% of a soil has passed through this 425 micron sieve. If you are getting a report like this from the sieve analysis, then you have to take 25 gram of a soil. Okay, if it is 20 mm, then you have to 500 gram of soil. In case of a 40 mm, you have to take 1000 gram of a soil. It means you have to take 1 kg of a soil. So if the gradation or we can say if the particle size of a soil is lesser, then you can take a less quantity. If the particle size of a soil is big one, okay, large one, if the particle size is large one, then you have to take 1000 gram of a soil or larger quantity of a soil. That's it. After that, what will be the temperature? Okay, as per the IS code, the temperature is, you can keep between 105 degree to 115 degrees centigrade. Okay, for all of the soils. So then question arises that why not below 105 degrees centigrade? If you are keeping your oven temperature below 105 degrees centigrade, then what will happen? The water, all the water from the soil will not evaporate. And if you are if you are setting temperature greater than 115 degrees centigrade, then what will happen? There is a certain quantity of water which is chemically bonded within the soil. Okay, that is nothing but structural water. That is the inherent part of this soil. Okay, if you are taking the temperature above 115 degrees centigrade, then that water will also get evaporated, and that will hamper the structure of a soil, and it is not recommended. So that's why we will generally keep the temperature between 105 to 115 degrees centigrade. In other soils, like the soils with the gypsum and soil with the organic content, okay, if you are keeping the temperature between the 105 degree to 115 degree, then what will happen? Organic matter is there. Okay, 100 degree temperature, it is suitable for it, so that will burn, and it is also not recommended. So what we will do, we will keep the temperature below 100 degrees centigrade. That will be 60 degree to 80 degrees centigrade. That temperature is recommended. And if you are keeping the temperature below 100 degrees centigrade, then 24 hours for evaporation of all of the quantity of water is not possible. So we have to keep it for longer duration. That's it. So the temperature I have covered, the size, how much quantity we have to take, that is also covered. And again, the most important part is that if the soil is wet and you are taking smaller quantity, then that's okay. But if the soil is dry, then you have to take a huge quantity of a soil, or not huge, more quantity of soil, so that you will get the result. Again, how you will assure that all of the water is evaporated? Suppose after 24 hours of a duration, you have taken the soil out, you have taken the wet, then again you have to keep it in the oven. That same sample you have to keep in the oven, and if you take it out after 1 hour, then there is no reduction in that weight of that soil sample. Okay, then it is said that the weight is not reducing further. It means all the water is evaporated. So this is the formula: W is equal to M2 minus M3 divided by M3 minus M1 multiplied by 100. Okay, so in the numerator what we are doing? M2 minus M3. So M2 minus M3, this container and this container will get cancelled out. This lead and this lead will get cancelled out. You will get the difference between wet soil and dry soil. Okay, the difference between wet soil and dry soil is nothing but the water content. In the denominator, M3 minus M1, that is M3 minus M1, container and this container will get cancelled out. This lead and this lead will get cancelled out and only dry soil or mass of dry solids will be there. So W is equal to mass of water by mass of solids multiplied by 100. So this is all about oven drying. This is pycnometer method. Pycnometer is nothing but a small cylindrical jar which is made up of a glass, okay, having 1 liter capacity, and it is fitted with the conical cap, which will at the apex it will be having a hole of almost 6 mm diameter, and this assembly is joined together by a screw type of a cover. Okay, that is nothing but this pycnometer. Okay, so I have shown this pycnometer in this rectangular form. Okay, when I say M1 is the weight of or mass of pycnometer, not weight, mass of pycnometer. When I say M2, it is that same pycnometer is filled with this wet soil and the weight is taken. When I say M3 is the pycnometer plus mass of wet soil plus water. And when I say M4, it is pycnometer plus water. Okay, so just like this we have taken all the weights. Depending on these four parameters M1, M2, M3 and M4, a certain formulation is made, and from that what we will find out water content. So suppose we will see that formulation. Okay, so M4 is mass of pycnometer plus water, it is known to us. Now M3 is mass of pycnometer plus water inside it plus wet soil. Okay, so what I have to do this, that from this M3 I have to deduct the mass of solids. So I am saying mass of solids. When I said mass of solids, whatever be the water content in that soil will remain inside this M3. Okay. As I have removed mass of solids, I have removed volume of solid from this jar, I have to add equal amount of water, equal volume of water in that jar. Okay, so that it will be equal to M4. M4 is nothing but the mass of pycnometer plus water. So I am removing mass of solids from this. Okay, I have removed mass of solids, then I have to again add equal amount of water, okay, into that. So for that I will do MS plus MS divided by rho S multiplied by rho W. Now this MS divided by rho S, MS divided by rho S, that will be nothing but the volume of that solids. If I am multiplying that volume of solids with the density of water, then that will be mass of water. Okay, so left side and right side is equal. Now M4 is equal to M3 minus MS plus rho S by rho W. Rho S by rho W is nothing but the specific gravity of solids. So here the inverse is there. So that's why I can write it that MS by G. Again, if I want to simplify this, then M4 is equal to M3 minus MS in bracket 1 minus 1 by G. Okay, again I will simplify. M4 is equal to M3 minus MS in bracket G minus 1 upon G. I will take this sum to this side. So MS G minus 1 by G. Here M3 is as it is, M3 as it is, M3 minus m4. So mass of solids will be equal to m3 minus m4. Okay, this term will go to this denominator, so it will become G upon G minus 1. Okay, so this is mass of solids. Now we want to find out mass of wet soil. How it can be determined? There is nothing but simple m2 minus m1 will give us mass of wet soil. So now what is its mass of water divided by mass of solids multiplied by 100? That will be water content. When from this term I will deduct this term, I will get mass of water. Mass of water will be m2 minus m1 minus m3 minus m4 multiplied by G upon G minus 1. Okay, so this is mass of water and this is mass of solids. So we got this two parameters to calculate water content. So again, if you simplified this, then you will get a simple formula is like W is equal to m2 minus m1 upon m3 minus m4 G minus 1 by G minus 1 multiplied by 100. Okay, so this is the formula, final formula for determination of water content. It is important to know that if you want to find out the water content from this pycnometer method, then you should know what is the specific gravity of that particular soil. Then and then only you can find out this water content by this method. Okay, so formulation is not important, the important is only the formula. Okay, so you have to just remember this. But the next test is a sand bath method. Sand bath method is a rapid test. We can conduct the test within 20 to 60 minutes like that, but it is not a very accurate method. Okay, so sand bath method will consist of a sand bath. A sand bath is nothing but a tray which will be containing a sand which will be having a depth of 3 cm as I have shown in this diagram. Okay, within this sand bath we will put a small tray in which we will keep the wet soil. Weight of this tray with this wet soil prior to placing it in this sand bath. Okay, and as we heat it with this stove below the sand bath, as the sand is there, what will happen because of this heat continuously generating, there will be uniform distribution of the heat throughout this sand. Okay, this is the property of a sand. Because of this, all the water from this wet soil mass will get evaporated. Okay, and for that with the pallet knife we will continuously deform this soil. Because of that, more and more water gets evaporated. Okay, but there is a chance that there will be the overheating or the structural water may escape. So as to avoid this, what we will do, we will put a white paper, small pieces of white paper along with this soil. So because of when the overheating starts, this white paper will turn brownish in color. It indicates that the overheating is started. So prior to that, we have to stop the test. So that's all about this sand bath method. Not accurate, but on a field when there is a situations. We need to have a certain calculations. So for that we need to know what will be the water content. Next method is alcohol method. For the alcohol method, what we will do is we will take a soil in an evaporating dish. Okay, and if there are lumps are present, then we will break it and we will make generally soil of uniform size. Then we will add methylated spirit in that. The quantity of methylated spirit will depend on amount of a soil present. Suppose there is a 25 gram of a soil, then we will add 25 ml of a water. Means for each gram we have to add 1 ml of a methylated spirit. Okay, it is thoroughly mixed in that. Then after we will ignite that methylated spirit. Because as methylated spirit is highly volatile, the fire will take place. What we need to do is we have to continuously deform that soil, okay, so that all the water from the soil is evaporated. We will have already taken the mass of a wet soil. Okay, as the ignition take place, all the water will get evaporated and only dry mass of a soil will remain. Then we will take the mass of that dry soil mass. So depending on the result, we will calculate water content, mass of wet soil minus mass of dry soil divided by mass of dry soil multiplied by 100. It is important to know that alcohol method is not suitable for soil containing gypsum or soil containing organic matter. As the soil is directly subjected to fire, it is possible that the organic matter may get burned. Okay, and the organic matter is the important property of that soil. Okay, so the result will get hampered. Okay, so this is all about this alcohol method. Next is a torsion balance method. The torsion balance method requires a certain instrument or equipment which will be consist of generally these two major components, that is nothing but infrared lamp which will be having 250 watt capacity, and after that torsion balance moisture meter. Generally what we will do is the soil will be exposed to infrared rays from this infrared lamp. Because of that infrared rays, the water content from that soil will get evaporated, okay, and there will be only dry soil mass. Okay, so depending on this we can find out the what is the water content in it. Okay, so generally this equipment is calibrated for 25 gram of a soil. So you can take only 25 gram of a soil for the testing. So that's why the maximum size of a particle is limited to 2 mm. If you are taking a soil sample, then all the particles within the soil can be of a 2 mm or less than that. The no particle in that soil sample should be greater than 2 mm size. The soil is kept in a container. Okay, so it is not affected by the ambient conditions surrounding it. Then after that, the torsion is applied to the torsion wire by means of a calibrated drum, so as to record the loss of weight of a soil under the infrared lamp. Okay, so, and there is also a thermometer in this equipment, so as to record the temperature, and the temperature is generally limited between 105 degree to 115 degree as already said. Okay, so but the reading provided by this torsion balance method will be in terms of mass of water by total mass of a soil. Okay, so what we need is mass of water divided by mass of solid. So we need to find out that term. So it will give a reading in terms of a m dash. Okay, that is nothing but the mass of water divided by total mass of soil. Okay, why? Because it measures the loss in water. Okay, so then how to find out this water content is nothing but 1 by m dash is equal to m divided by mw. M is nothing but the mass of solids plus mass of water, as we know, upon mass of water. Okay, so 1 by m dash becomes ms by mw, mass of water upon mass of solid is water content. So this is the inverse, so it is 1 by w. mw is plus 1. Okay, so we want water content, so that's why 1 by m dash minus 1 is equal to 1 by w. So we will get 1 minus m dash by m dash is equal to w. So w is equal to m dash upon 1 minus m dash. Okay, so if we want to find out the water content by the formula mass of water by mass of solids, then whatever be the reading you will get from this torsion balance method, you have to put it in this formula and you can find out this water content. Okay, the next is radiation method. Okay, now this is the last method, that is radiation. The radiation method can be used for determination of the water content. For that we will need a radioactive material or radioactive isotope. So before that, what is the isotope? Isotope is nothing but an atom of some element that have different number of neutrons but same number of protons and electrons. That is called as a isotope. You can take example of a cobalt. Cobalt is a radioactive material or it is an isotope. Okay, this is the ground level. Okay, these are the steel casings or boring with the steel casing. There is a capsule lowered in the steel casing up to a level where we want to determine this water content. Okay, in that capsule there will be the cobalt or radioactive material. The steel casing will be having some opening. Okay, and in the same direction and the same line there will be the another steel casing and there will be one detector at that same level with the opening facing to this capsule. Okay, so what will happen from this radioactive material, neutrons will be emitted. As this neutron travels through this soil, okay, they get scattered because of this presence of hydrogen molecule in water and their energy is lost. This loss in energy of this neutron is directly proportional to the water content. Okay, so that will be detected by this detector. Okay, and it will directly give us this water content. Okay, so it is an in situ method on field. If you want to know what is the water content at a certain level below the ground, then it is useful. But as there is a radioactive emission, then we have to be very careful. Okay, so this is the end of this radiation method. Okay, so almost we have covered the first chapter. We have covered all the content in the first chapter. The remaining part is the numericals. Okay, so in the last lecture we will see the numericals, 3 or 4 problems from this chapter we will see, and we will wind up this chapter. Okay, so thanks for today. We will meet in the next lecture. Thank you so much.